AITA for telling my mom that she doesn't get to make the rules. I 17M live with my 3 brothers 15M, 13M, 10M, and my ma 40F. We're not very well off. I pay almost half the rent, I pay for groceries more often than not, and I juggle having a job, going to school, and raising these 3 kids, one of whom is disabled. I say raising, because my ma, between having 2 jobs and basically never being home, doesn't contribute. She's gone by 8 a.m. and usually not back before 10 or 11 p.m. In the past year, she's been home even less, getting home later and later. I'm pretty sure she goes out drinking. The fight went like this: my ma came home last night a bit before 9 p.m. for once, instead of 11 or later as she's been doing. 15M came out of his room to say hi, and 13M was already on the couch reading something for school. So she hugged both of them and said hi, and said she'd stopped by the gas station to buy us all something and gave us all a candy bar, which was cool of her. Then she asked where 10M was because she wanted to say hi to him. Now, I've practically raised these kids on my own for years now, and I do my best. On the very rare occasion my mom comes home early, she usually just goes to bed. I have 10M go to bed at 8 p.m., which I don't think is unreasonable, and I let the other 2 stay up until 10 p.m. because they're older. We all eat dinner at 6, get home from school around 4, and have a pretty clean routine altogether. Now my ma was asking where he was, so I told her he was asleep. She asked why, so I told her it's past his bedtime. She told me he didn't have to go to bed that early. I told her he did. She told me no, he didn't. She'd said we could all stay up until 10. I said that doesn't work, and she told me she's the parent, and it does work. And then she said, it's not my place to micromanage the other 3. She said, her kids, her house, her rules. And then she exploded, that I could stop being such a control freak, because it wasn't my place to do that, or to have signed up 13M for soccer, or to have repainted the fence, or to have taken 10M to the doctor some weeks ago, or any of the things I've been doing without asking her. I told her, it's also my house. I pay a lot of rent, and they're basically my kids, because she's never around, so it's more my house, my rules, if we want to play that game. I told her she wouldn't know what works for 10M, because she's too busy to know him. I told her I might ask for her input if she was ever around, but she never is, so I don't give a AITA how she thinks I should raise these kids, and she doesn't get to have a say in it. Not anymore. She broke down crying, called me ungrateful for all that she does, said she doesn't know where she went wrong and left the room. She either went to her room, or she FK'd off and left the house. I'd key hey DC. She's an adult, it's her life. 13M said I'm a dick for making her cry, and 15M left the room a minute later, saying he was going to bed. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for telling my mother off? Edit holy AITA, this blew up. Some clarifying points. I don't hate her, some of why I'll be out here dramatic AF. I go to school 8 to 10, work 104, pick my brothers up, and maybe work a night shift if you want my schedule. If you want more details, look through my comments. We're not struggling financially, but we really would be if I didn't contribute. I'm not saying she doesn't contribute at all. I'm saying she doesn't contribute to raising her kids. I plan to eventually take custody. First comment, NTA, your mom is horrible to you and those boys. They are going to wake up one day and realize that it was you who kept them out of trouble, fed them, clothed them, and kept them alive and together and got them into college or trade school. They will realize that if it hadn't been for you stepping up, you all would have been dumped into foster care and maybe even split up. Aside from the 10 you're, the other 2 are old enough to know what you're going through, and the realities that if you aren't paying the rent that you want, have a place to live or food to eat, that if anyone find out your mom isn't home taking care of you guys, then child services might take you all away. Your mom sucks and she knows it. She skipped out on being a mom a long time ago. She just doesn't want to have to physically get rid of you all and be called a bad mom. It's easier for her to pretend that she's a good mom, and she's working so hard for you than to face reality. You are amazing for doing all of this at your age. You shouldn't have to deal with this at all right now. Your mom should be thanking you for stepping up and handling this because she doesn't want to. That's why. Because she simply doesn't want to be bothered to take care of you guys. You're doing amazing. You pay the bills, keep food on the table, and get those kids to school and soccer, and make sure they still have friends. I agree with you, your house, your kids, your rules. If she doesn't like the way you're raising those kids, then she can step up. Get a better job. Come home and take care of the kids and let you live your life instead of paying the bills. If she isn't going to do any of that and actually parent those kids, then she needs to step back and get out of your business and let you handle things, because you're all clearly doing just fine without her. Again, you're all doing just fine without her. So ignore her and give the boys the truth if you want, but keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. Hopefully you can still find a way to go to college and help those boys. Second comment, as a parentified older sister, I can attest that they absolutely do realize. My brother has thanked me numerous times over the years. We've been a team for a long time, and while I'm grateful for the relationship with my brother, I genuinely wish I would have had more of my childhood. I now have a child who I love more than anything, who is around the age I basically picked up parenting my brother. But that has kind of brought up some repressed resentment and feels I didn't know I had about it. I've had so much déjà vu with my own kid, and I feel so bone weary and almost feel like I've been robbed of some joy of parenthood, because I've already done this. And as my child gets older, and my husband and we have chats about what our childhoods were like, he's an only child, so there's going to be differences anyways. It just keeps hammering home that it took a lot I didn't realize I missed out. In the end, I don't regret raising my brother. He is a good, kind human who I'm immensely proud of. But I do think it's not unfair to resent my parents for some things that were taken from me emotionally, on top of having to raise myself while raising another child. Anyways, I'm rambling. Op, your NTA. You're an amazing human, and I am so sorry you're in the position you're in. You're doing great. Another symptom of being parentified also seems to reverse parent the people who had us, and there isn't anything you can do about it. They'll wake up one day, or they won't, but you'll at least be able to see that the work you put in, while it may have taken something from you, has definitely bettered the lives of your siblings that you are enriching. Third comment, NTA, you were upset and you were harsh, but your mom needs to live in reality. Also, obviously, sending the 10-year-old to bed at 8 is the correct thing. Your mom was just trying to exert authority, probably because she knows she's not really being a parent and she doesn't like that, and possibly it makes her full of regret, shame, and resentment. That's not your problem though. She's the adult and it's her place to try to help you, not undermine you if you have to be the one in charge the majority of the time. Your siblings probably feel bad because they don't have the same relationship with your mom that you do, and they just want her around, and also it doesn't feel good to see your mom cry. Would a conversation when you aren't angry have any chance of getting through to her? You could apologize for your bluntness, but also explain that you are doing your best and feel like she doesn't appreciate that. Also, since you pay for a huge chunk of the family costs, why does she have 2 jobs? Could she not just get a single job? It seems like she's wasting her time for not enough reward. Especially if the 15-year-old can get a part-time job also. You don't have to explain to me or anyone else. I'm just wondering if there's any shot at asking her about changing jobs. Also, I know jobs don't grow on trees, but seems like maybe one fast food job would be better than whatever she's doing now. Fourth comment, NTA. I grew up in a house where my mom was also mysteriously absent a lot of the time, except I knew that she was out drinking. I only had 1 siblings, not 3, but I didn't step up nearly as much or as well as you have done. As others have mentioned, parentification is ABSA, but you have single-handedly kept your brothers going and prevented social services from stepping in and very likely separating you and your brothers. Good on you for stepping up and doing so in such an incredibly competent fashion. I was not nearly as level-headed at your age. As for your brother's bedtime, 8 p.m. is a perfect bedtime. I have a 10-year-old of my own, and I would love to get him to bed at 8 p.m. His bedtime is 8:30, but he delays bedtime with everything he can possibly try, so he often doesn't get to bed until 9:30. Then he is exhausted in the morning, and every night,